All right, let's talk security cameras. If you've ever tried to pick a new system, you know it can feel like you need a degree in, I don't know, network engineering just to understand the options. But listen, whether you're trying to keep an eye on your home or your business, getting the right tech is, well, it's everything. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and help you make the right call.
I mean, you've seen all the terms, right? IP, HD, NVR, DVR, coaxial, Cat6. It's just a sea of alphabet soup. And, getting it wrong isn't just frustrating. It can be a really costly mistake. But hey, don't worry. You're in exactly the right place. We're going to get this all sorted out.
So here's the plan. We are going to decode the tech. We're going to break down the two main players in the security camera world today. That's high-definition analog, we'll just call them HD, and Internet Protocol, or IP. I promise, by the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which one is the right fit for you.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll meet the contenders, IP and HD. Then, we'll put them head-to-head in a feature showdown. After that, we'll get into the really practical stuff. Security, setup, and of course, cost. And finally, we'll figure out which camera is the one for you. Let's do it.
All right, first up, let's meet our contenders, IP and HD. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty details, it's super important to get a handle on the basic tech behind them, because they really do approach the job of capturing video in two completely different ways. So first up, the IP camera. The key word you gotta remember here is network. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, think about your Wi-Fi at home, right? The one your phone and your laptop use to get online. An IP camera uses that exact same kind of network, it can be wired or wireless, to send its video. You can almost think of it like a little computer. It's a smart device, and it processes the video right there inside the camera itself. And that is what makes all the cool stuff possible, like, pulling up a live view on your phone from literally anywhere in the world.
And then on the other side of the ring, we've got the HD camera. Now listen, don't let that word analog fool you. This is not your grainy, blurry, old-school gas station footage. No way. This is a massive leap forward. We're talking crisp, high-definition video. The big difference here is how it sends that video. It sends a pure, uncompressed signal through a physical wire. It's called a coaxial cable, straight to a recording box. And it's that recorder that does all the heavy lifting, the processing, the storing, all of it.
Okay, so we've got a smart network device versus a direct wired system. But what does that actually mean when it comes to performance and features? Well, let's find out. It's time for the feature-by-feature showdown. Okay, this is where their differences really start to pop. Let's just go down the list. First up, resolution. How clear is the picture? HD cameras, they give you a great 1080p picture, totally solid. But IP cameras? Whoa! They can go up to 12 megapixels and even higher. For, say, a business owner, that's the difference between just seeing that a theft happened and being able to zoom way in and get a crystal clear shot of a face or license plate. It's a huge deal. Okay, next, cabling. Here, HD is the long-distance champion, no question. It can send a signal over 500 meters. That's perfect if you're covering a big property, like a farm or a warehouse. IP cameras are limited to 100 meters per cable, so you'd need extra gear for those longer runs. And finally, storage. This is a neat one. Only IP cameras have a little SD card slot for onboard storage. Think of it like a safety net. If your internet ever goes down, the camera just keeps recording to that little card. You don't miss a thing.
So let's talk about the practical stuff. I mean, tech specs are great, but what about the real-world experience? How easy is this stuff to install? How secure is it? And the big one, what's it going to cost me? Honestly, these are often the things that make the decision for you. All right, let's talk setup. And when it comes to just pure, simple installation, there's a clear winner. HD cameras are about as close to plug-and-play as you can get. Seriously, you run the cable from the camera to the recorder, plug it in, and boom, you're pretty much done. IP cameras, on the other hand, because they're network devices, they need a little more TLC. You have to do some basic configuration, like giving them an IP address so your system can find them. It's not rocket science, but there's definitely a steeper learning curve. Okay, this next one is super important, cybersecurity. Let's be real. HD cameras, they operate on a closed circuit. They're wired directly to a recorder, and that's it. They are basically isolated from the internet, which makes them pretty much impossible to hack remotely. Now, IP cameras, by their very nature, are connected to a network. And look, that connection is what gives them all those awesome remote features, but it also opens a door. It means you absolutely have to make sure they're properly secured to protect them from online threats.
But that doesn't have to be scary. Securing your IP cameras is totally manageable. Here are the three big things. Number one, use strong, unique passwords. Please, please, please change the default password. So many cameras ship with something silly like admin or 1234, and that's the first thing hackers try. Number 2, keep the camera's firmware updated. Just think of firmware as the software inside your camera. Companies put out updates all the time to patch security holes. And number 3, make sure your cameras are behind a secure firewall. Just doing these 3 simple things makes a world of difference.
And now for the question everyone's thinking about. What about the cost? So let's look at the bottom line. If you're just comparing the price of one camera to another, HD systems are almost always going to be the cheaper option up front. They're very budget-friendly. But, and this is a big but, the story can totally change when you're talking about bigger installations. Imagine a business that needs 20 cameras. The cost of running all that specialized coaxial cable everywhere can add up fast. IP systems, though, they use standard, cheap network cables, the kind that might already be wired into your building, and that can actually make the total project cost way more competitive. Okay, we have covered the tech, the features, the pros, the cons, all of it. So now it's time for the most important part, figuring out which one of these is for you. Because the best camera system isn't the one with the most features, it's the one that's the perfect match for your needs. So when should you go with an IP camera? Well, choose an IP camera if you absolutely need the highest possible image resolution. Think a retail store where you need to see every little detail. Choose IP if you want that amazing remote access, the ability to check in on your property from your phone while you're on vacation. It's also the way to go if you think you'll want to add more cameras later on. They're super easy to scale up. And, of course, you should be comfortable with some basic network setup. If that sounds like you, IP is your game. Okay, so who is an HD camera for? You should choose an HD camera if you're working with a tighter budget. Simple as that. Go for HD if you just want a simple, no-fuss, plug-and-play setup. It's also an absolute no-brainer if you're upgrading an older CCTV system, because you can use the exact same cables you already have. That's a huge time and money saver. And finally, if the security of a closed-circuit system is your #1 top priority, well, the design of an HD system is just unbeatable. And there you have it. At the end of the day, the choice isn't really about which tech is better. It's about which one is the right tool for your job. So what's it going to be? The powerful, super high-res flexibility of an IP system, or the simple, super secure and budget-friendly reliability of HD? The choice is yours, and now you've got everything you need to choose with confidence.